So just so you know, this video I didn't prepare for at all. I've really, maybe the past 15 minutes, I've been thinking about what I might say. Whereas on my other past videos, you know, I'll plan a day in advance and I'll just write down bullet points of things that I want to touch on. And then I'll fill in the blanks as I'm doing my video like I am now. But I will have that structured guideline as to what to say so that I don't miss anything. My ADHD gets in the way and I completely blank out and I'll miss points. So that's what I had to do in the past. I still do all the time. Except for this video now. That I'm making basically in response to a specific message that I got. It was anonymous and it was through another website where I have Tumblr. Why am I trying to be so secretive? It was anonymous. I'm not going to say any details, but basically this woman said that she almost committed suicide while drinking a few nights ago. Well, in the message it just said last night, but this was sent a while ago. Said that she almost committed suicide yesterday while drinking, and that she's very, very grateful for my videos, and that my videos give her hope. Which is crazy to read from someone that you don't know, who is in a completely different country, different part of the earth, who saw my creation, when my creation is really just me telling you what happened to me and the knowledge and wisdom that I learned through other people over the past few years. So really, it was amazing to get that message. First, it's amazing that you know, some of my videos could at least help somebody in some sort of way. That's really why I'm doing it. Really. Secondly, what was amazing about it was, well, that she felt she could share that with me. And also, too, that she's still alive. That she didn't do it. And why it struck me, other than the obvious, is because I 100% know what that's like. I've been there. I've been there for sure one time, and I've been there like 90% of the time a dozen other times. And what I mean by that is maybe not even a dozen, I don't even know, because honestly, like, the last 2-3 years of my drinking, 4 years, I don't know. Past many years, like the end of my drinking career, were obviously the worst as it happens, and so I don't even really know how many times I was like insane, weird, crazy-eye drunk, and had really bad suicidal thoughts. It's happened many, many, many times, countless times, really. And also, I learned this the other day. I was listening to a podcast, and they were just talking about suicidal thoughts. And from what I understood, suicidal thoughts is like, okay, I'm thinking about ways to end my life, or like it's very blatant like that. Like that I'm thinking about killing myself and this is what's going to happen. Yes, those are suicidal thoughts. But in this podcast I listened to, they were saying that also suicidal thoughts could also come out in the way of what used to happen to me, would be, you know, thinking that you really don't care if you get hit by a car. It doesn't really matter if you know, accidentally steer your car into traffic. Those are suicidal thoughts too. I didn't realize that. I mean, it makes sense, but what I used to say to myself when I was insane drunk, you know, when you would have those nights, you know what I mean, when you would get, not just like woo fun drunk and then go home, pass out, and you know, not like that, but like the drunk where like you are on another fucking planet. You're like on a tear. You're focused. You're in that zone of either I want to beat the shit out of somebody or out of something, or a lot of self-hatred. All of your problems come all of a sudden, whereas all the night drinking, they were gone. They were nowhere to be found. But all of a sudden at the end, when you get that switch going, that's when you think of everything that's horrible and you cry, or you don't. You get weird and you don't cry. You know what I mean. When you get insane like that. So whenever that would happen to me, if I wasn't violent, sometimes at the same time too, and even when I was violent, what I would want to do is to bleed out in a snowbank. That would be one of the things that I would always say. Only in the winter though, of course. There was no snowbanks in the, you know, fall, spring, or summer. But I would say that I want to bleed out somewhere. Actually, in the snowbank thing, I think that is why I said that, because I quit March 2nd. So that winter, coming up to March 2nd, is when I would have said that. That makes sense, because that was the last few months when things were at the absolute worst. So those were suicidal thoughts. And of course, there's the act of trying to do it, or sort of trying to do it, or the act of trying to get yourself in the hospital, or the act of trying to have yourself almost die, but just enough to, like, why do you do that? Two reasons to have yourself almost die, or to actually want to die. To get the attention of someone else, or to make yourself wake the fuck up and snap out of this hell that you're in. So it's one of those two. Most people think that it's because you're trying to get attention from somebody else. Whether that's in a bad way or a good way. Attention like, please help me. Or attention like, oh, look at me, and then continue on self-destructive paths and never change. That's not the good kind. The kind I mean would be to, like, please help me, I'm over here, you know, I'm gonna die, like, I need you. Or there's the side of why I think I was doing it, but I'm not sure. I think I was doing both, where you want to almost die, or you want to bleed out in a snowbank because you want yourself to see what you're doing, and for yourself to realize how serious the situation is, because you know it, but you don't physically act it out to know it. Because when you do that, then you're like, holy shit, there is something really, really wrong, because I almost just killed myself. So where was I going with that? I guess maybe just to relay that I know exactly what that's like. And that suicidal thoughts aren't always just, you know, point A to point B. Point A being, I'm going to take pills, or I'm going to slit my wrists, or I'm going to jump off a bridge, to the end point of death. Not always that way. There's other ways of having suicidal thoughts. So, and other than the suicidal thoughts, I guess, would come in the mental anguish and the despair, and you feel like your brain is completely disorganized, or organized in a wrong way, and you feel like your brain is had rewired itself in a weird, fucked up way. I don't know how else to say it. You basically feel like, yep, you're crazy now, and there's no fixing it. That's what it feels like when you're in that state of active addiction and drinking, to almost kill yourself and to actually think about it and do all those things. That's what that hell feels like. At least that's what it was for me. So I'm basically saying this to the person who was like me, who was experiencing this, to say to those people that yes, that is what it's like, and I know what that's like. And I'm also saying this so that people who don't know what that's like can hear it from somebody who's now sober and clear-headed, to hear from someone that so that they have an idea of what that's like. So if you know somebody who's who you're close with, who's going through all this bad stuff, I'm only speaking from experience and from what I hear from other people, but there's a good chance that that could be what's going on in their head. And when you're feeling like that, when you're feeling like you did everything in your life so wrong for so long, and you've done everything, you fucked everything up, you screwed up all these relationships, you screwed up your job, you screwed up where you live, you're a fuck up, you did all these bad things in your life. When you think like that, you can't just snap out of it. That's years and years and years and years, or decades, of believing that about yourself. And when you add alcohol to that, it makes you feel better in the moment. But when you get in that bad spot, everything comes at once, and you feel like you are so full of intensity, no hope whatsoever, because you're so full of intense emotions that you feel you're just going to explode, and you want it to stop. You need it to slow down, because you don't think you can't. How are you supposed to, how can you continue when you don't know how the fuck you're gonna get out of this? That's what it feels like. And you feel like no one can really help you because no one gets it. That's 100% true. No one gets it because no one really knows how to say those words to you. No one knows how to describe what your mind is like. They can just say, man, you're fucked up. Or they'll just say, you need help, whatever. Okay, well, that doesn't help you, does it? You already know that, you know? So how did I go from that, that's bad. How do you go from wanting to bleed out in a snowbank, actually trying to make it happen? How do you go from that to actual sobriety and actual recovery and actually feeling like you're actually not crazy? Like, you're actually not. How do you go from that? How did I do it? Well, I have videos to explain how I actually did it, to describe, you know, the early stages and you know, scared the shit out of me. Okay, I hope that's probably okay. That's really weird. My camera's never done that before. I'm gonna double check to make sure that's still recording. It is. Okay. Let's just hope. Okay, that's a weird tripod thing. Okay, anyway. What was I saying? Yeah, my other videos explain that. So you can watch those, but basically let's just say back then I was afraid that I was actually going, like that my anxiety would get so bad that you know, I'd close my eyes and I'd sometimes see scary faces and I'd get really crazy fucked up thoughts, and I thought that I could easily just snap, you know? That was a common thing that I would think. But I learned that is anxiety. That's just really bad anxiety. And there was nothing actually wrong with me in my brain, even though it felt like it. So really, what it took was my rock bottom night where I almost died, and it did scare me. It did scare me into realizing, like, oh, okay, things are serious. Like, this is the real deal. So that night I should have called the mobile crisis team, whatever it's called. And there's probably one in your area or your state or your province where it's a free number you can call any time of day or night if you're experiencing crisis. And they'd help you. I wish I had called, but that's okay. I didn't need to because I had a roommate at the time, and she was actually going through schooling to, and she was smart like that anyway, and had experience, and she was just really good with traumatic situations like that, especially involving addiction. So she was perfect for me to call because she was able to be there and do all the right things and diffuse the situation. So I guess really I just hope that a rock bottom night for you would just be obviously to not die and to not be hurt too bad where there's no coming back from it, even though, man, I didn't think there was any coming back from my mental anguish, but there was a way out of it. So really, that's what did it for me. I had to hit rock bottom, like they say, and I did. I sure did. And I woke up in the morning and still felt the gravity of the situation. Basically, right then, I was like, I am sick of fighting. I'm done. And the following Monday, I made calls, made appointments, did all the right things to get professional help. So I got professional help and built a good support system. It really just took a lot of work, a lot of recovery work. And by work, it makes it sound like it was such a pain, but really it wasn't, because my mind got set 100% that this is what I'm going to do. There's no going back, because I know what back was, and that was not good. So that's what it took. And the rest is history, basically. I'm sober, and I did the recovery, or I still do recovery work. You know, you're never out of the woods. There's always a chance. There's always the voice in the back of your head, and there still is with me. But I'm not going back. Not going back to that place. Never. So basically, I guess what I could say is to anybody who's currently experiencing that, I'm glad you're alive to watch this video. I really am. So I know what that's like, and there is a way out. It may seem like there isn't, but there actually is. And also too, I know it might not be good for me to say this, but I know what it's like to be in that demented, weird, fucked up stage of active alcoholism and like it, and like feeling fucked up and demented and feeling like your whole world is crumbling down around you. That's some weird pleasure out of that. Not out of hurting people. That never was fun, honestly. That part I just blocked out. Not healthy. But I mean the overall feeling of being an active addiction. There was a part of it that was comforting. But that's how things are, isn't it? That's how things happen in life, where if you do something for long enough, your ego's going to want to try to hold you in that space and not let you go outside of what you're used to. Change is scary. So yeah, there is that part. I had that. I got real weird about it, and I liked getting crazy and violent and stuff, and I felt like I was like, fuck yeah. You know, I'm a GD mess, and I liked it. So, but that faded. That got old. That got old real quick when I had a few like really bad times where I'm like, okay, this is just not fun. This is actually embarrassing and scary. Scary, because there was not literally, not like crazy, but I mean like, there was actual, like, you know, that small voice in your head. That's what I mean. There was that voice in my head that was saying, like, okay, you've never done that before. That means you need help. The next day happens. Whoa, okay, you've never done that before. That means you need help. Little things like that. You'll start to do things that will just get worse and worse and worse and worse. So anyway, what I was saying with that is... I don't know what I was saying with that. I was basically saying, oh yeah, that feeling of like liking the getting crazy drunk and effed up, that liking it will fade, and it did for me. For some people it takes longer than others, depending on lots of things, I guess, but eventually you will get sick of that. You will get sick of feeling like that, and it won't be fun anymore to feel like that, and you will eventually get your bottom, and you will want to fight to get out of it. Now, there's a lot of times when you'll feel too weak to fight and you have no hope. But in those times, watch videos, read things on the internet, read recovery stories to give you hope. even if you don't really feel it or feel like it could happen to you, even if you do a little bit somewhere in there, obviously you did, or else you wouldn't read or listen to those things. So just keep watching things like that. Read stuff online. Go to different like alcohol rehab websites online and read articles and listen to stories, go on YouTube, listen to recovery stories and listen to what people have to say of how they made it through. And eventually it will catch on. Eventually. Could take months. Could take years. Eventually you'll be like, okay, it's my turn. I can do it. I'm going to do it. And you'll do it. And you'll understand how this side of life is. And it is awesome. I don't feel like I'm going crazy anymore. I feel clear-headed. I don't feel hopeless anymore. You know, all the good things. I'm sober and I actually have shit together. The bridges that I burned with people in the past are mended. And if they're not mended, then, well, no, they still would be. We just might not really talk that much anymore like we used to. But either way, you know, the things that I screwed up in the past, I had made amends for in some way, or whatever it is, I let go of a lot of things and I changed for the better for myself. I did a lot of self-discovery, and you have to be really self-aware and really, but that's recovery work. I'm just talking about right now, when you're feeling like you could just end it all right now and it wouldn't matter, know that it does matter. There are people who actually care if you live or die and want you to live. There really is people. Imagine your mom. Imagine your dad or your grandmother or your aunt or your uncle. Whoever it was when you were a baby that would hold you and love you and provide nourishment to you. Whoever that person was or people were. Did you imagine them holding you when you were a baby and thinking 15 years down the road, 20 years down the road, 27 years down the road, 40 years down the road, this little baby is gonna be a hardcore alcoholic and wanna jump off a bridge and slit the wrist open someday? Oh my God, I can't believe that. Imagine how much that would hurt that person, how much that would break their heart to look down at this beautiful little baby that was you and somehow see into the future and see you doing that and feeling that hopeless and low, like you hate yourself. And imagine, that would break their heart. And they don't want you to do it. So think of it that way. That's what would help me. So yeah, just keep holding on and just continue to fight and continue to do your research and hear other recovery stories and know that you can get better mentally, spiritually, if you want, physically. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. It does happen. Even at the lowest of the lows, I've heard stories of them coming out on the other side. And it's awesome over here. I wish you luck and I thank you for watching. Say hello to the people. This is Snacks. He's been with me through everything. All the good and the bad over the past... How old are you? 6? Are you 6? Got him when I was 24. I'm 32. 7. Oh my God, you're 7.